Greetings, service of the Interweb, I am Parax, and everyone review of the good, the bad, and the underrated. Wow, our main heroes have really progressed in the last few seasons. First, Rarity gets her boutique in Cantal last season, now it's progressing to Manhattan, and now Rainbow Dash is achieving her lifelong dream as a Wonderbolt. This has been her dream ever since her first scene in the pilot, so needless to say, this episode had my interest from the previews, but I was a little apprehensive about the Wonderbolts themselves. Over the previous seasons, they've been portrayed as incompetent, ignorant, but kind of understandably, complete and utter jerks, and gone back to being ignorant, but this time, not understandably. Needless to say, Equestria doesn't have very good hiring standards for their military. Does this episode soar above the rest to join Rainbow's best, or will it be unable to stick the landing? Let's find out as we take a look at Newbie Dash. This episode starts pretty quickly, as Rainbow is immediately sworn to their Wonderbolts following one of their members retiring. Some setup would have been nice, but we've already seen that Rainbow Dash is pretty highly regarded by the team, even if she has been just a reserve up to this point, so not that big a deal. After her friends congratulate her, and Spike receives even more abuse, she heads to the Wonderbolt headquarters.
Don't forget rule number 1, newbie. Always check both ways before crossing the runway.
I mean, seriously, didn't you watch any PSHE or after school specials? No? You lucky little... And I'll admit, it's really cool to see Rainbow Dash in a Wonderbolt uniform. However, she immediately forgets Rule 1 and falls into a bin when avoiding her teammates.
Are you okay, Rainbow Dash?
More like Rainbow Crash.
Really? You come up with that same name as those idiotic boys from Flight Camp? You are idiots, and ooh, look, a traumatic flashback to Flight Camp. There seem to be a worrying amount of those. Okay, lady, you're fired. I don't care if I have no authority, but between Fluttershy's teachers shoving her off a board and you not only letting a foal get bullied but laughing at it, I'm just gonna go ahead and teleport you onto Mordor. Okay? Okay. Plus, Rainbow seems to forget that she's the best flyer in Equestria, as she constantly does badly in practice and has to mop up the entire compound afterwards. This sudden step down in her flying makes it just feel like they're trying to make the Wonderbolts look good by comparison, especially as she's been shown to fly well under pressure before. As she goes home, her friends try to comfort her and they fail.
Isn't that the same terrible nickname those bullies in flight school used to call you? Why would they call you that?
Well, I kinda sorta fell into a garbage can.
Ugh. Well, look at the bright side. At least they didn't call you Rainbow Trash.
She has a point. And so does Twilight, as she encourages Rainbow Dash to stand out in her own way. Which Dash takes to mean copy her friends and act like she has multiple personality disorder. Because reasons. Yet this whole scene is just awkward. Whenever Rainbow Dash becomes desperate for attention, it always ends up seeming pathetic and sad. Especially here. Why would you think acting timid or fancy would get you ahead in a bloody military organization? You deserve to have Crash on your jacket, because your attempts to make up for yesterday crashed and burned. This whole scene of Rainbow Dash seeming desperate for attention reminds me a lot of Mysterious Meadowell, and writer's friendly tip: you do not want to remind me of Mysterious Meadowell! But Rainbow's attention grubbing continues, unfortunately, as at the performance in Ponyville, she comes up with a cunning plan. And frankly, even Baldrick could do better with his cunning plans.
Your scooter and kick the storm cloud into my path. What? That kick will shoot off a lightning bolt right behind me, making me look totally awesome. And then I'll do some incredible Rainbow Dash flying with it to create the coolest, show-stoppingest, lightning-tastic light show.
So, let me get this straight. Your plan to get ahead in this team is to quite literally steal their thunder?
Not a great plan.
I mean, you'd be lucky not to get fired considering you're breaking formation and potentially putting the other Wonderbolts in danger with the lightning. Heck, I'm surprised they didn't fire on grounds of mental health. So, her little stunt goes about as well as expected, and Spitfire chastises her for exactly what I just said. But the worst thing is that Rainbow Dash was actually doing really well. The entire routine went perfectly. That alone would have been enough to prove the Wonderbolts were wrong. Have them in shock at Rainbow Dash doing well. It would have been so satisfying to see her overcome the teasing. But of course, we need to see her needlessly in pain. Dear sweet Celestia, I hate this moment.
Yeah, so? My nickname's Clipper. You know why they call me that? Because I clipped my wing on a flagpole as I was landing on my first day.
Flat flip. My first day, I misjudged my landing and came down right on Spitfire's hoof.
Aw, that's actually kind of sweet. Would have been nice to reveal that before, you jerks. Then this whole sore excuse for a plot wouldn't have happened. I mean, did none of you notice that the nickname was making her depressed, and throughout the episode we only saw Soren get called Clipper once, out of context, and that's the main problem with this episode. The Wonderbots could have told Rainbow Dash about their nicknames before, but they didn't.
Pudding brains.
Rainbow is tasked with cleaning for a month, but is assured that she's still a Wonderbolt. Again, a touching moment, but you really want to be a member of a bunch of name-calling incompetent jerks? Whatever floats your boat, or flaps your wings, I guess. So that was Newbie Dash. Yet again this season, a chapter in someone's life happens and it just feels inconsequential. Heck, it's even worse here than in On Your Marks. While there are a couple of good moments, this episode is overall frustrating. The Wonderbolts continue to show themselves as complete jerks, and Rainbow's some lack of confidence and constant stupid measures to impress them is so awkward and sad. And good moments of her actually being glad about being a Wonderbolt are too short and fleeting. I'd say her best moment in the series is in Wonderbolt Academy, when, after a reckless recruit named Lightning Dust almost gets her friends killed due to her dangerous measures that the Wonderbolts are constantly passed off due to her success, she stands up to Spitfire and quits. I mean, Spitfire comes back at the end to fire Lightning Dust and basically begs Rainbow to come back, but in my opinion, the Wonderbolts simply aren't worthy of Rainbow Dash. She has long since outgrown them. If she attempted to change the Wonderbolts from the inside, that'd be interesting, but she just goes along with the name-calling tradition because it's something they do, even though the name was originally made up by a bunch of bullies she hated. I know it's a military thing to have nicknames, but as someone with no military experience who was constantly picked on and called names in primary school, I find them more of just accepting name-calling backwards, as I found it demeaning and alienating. Plus, it's one thing for the bolts to call Rainbow Crash every now and then, but they seem to go out of their way to put her down, making them all at the end just perplexing. So in the end, I found this episode to be pretty bad. Despite having potential, the unlikable characters and contrived plot that could have been solved by simple communication means that the episode crashes and burns. I am Pyrex11, thank you for watching.